Good afternoon and welcome to Fight CPS with your host, Bob Pace. This is a live stream heard around the United States and around the world. I'm broadcasting. I use StreamYard and I'm broadcast on YouTube. I'm here to talk about the Child Protection System. It's a government entity found in every state and every county. There are 3,144 counties, and there's 3,144 child protection agencies, but all of them have different names. Some are similar, some are different, but they all boil down to one thing. They're supposed to take care of our children and stop neglect and abuse. And if it's needed, the children are in imminent danger, they can be taken, but they're supposed to do something called family reunification, where they find out the best parents are the parents that the biological parents that can raise the children. Those are the best parents. So if they have problems, they can be corrected. Then thank you very much for all of you to come into my room. I want you to know that I'm here. I can answer your questions or concerns. All I ask is your first name and location. If you're in the United States, it's city and state. And if you're outside the United States, it's city and country. Now, I've talked to over 3,600 people. 100 of them are outside the United States and 3,500 in the United States. And half of 3,000 is 1,500. And 2,600 is more than 1,500. So all the 2,600 people reported they have problems with CPS. So that tells me that there's a good chance, a 50-50 chance, you run into a rogue CPS or a bad CPS. I've heard nothing but badness out of the counties around me in Southern California. I'm broadcast from Surf City, USA, south of Los Angeles, 3 blocks from the beach. And I have lots of information I can share with you. I want to help you. And I know what you're going through. So many of you, they're going through so much. CPS is awful. The ones that have encountered them. They break apart families that don't need to. And they certainly don't help. And they don't do family reunification. Now, I chased away 2 of you. I don't know where you went, but there's one of you left. If you'd like to leave a comment or a question, be much appreciated because I'm here to help you. I'm here to do a lot of things. I've come up with 5 rules that help you navigate and fight CPS from taking your family and your and break apart your family and your children. And it is a hard thing. This CPS that has been going on lately, especially I'd say the last 18 years. It started in 74, a mandate by Congress that they started a CPS organization. They directed social service, directed all the social workers to protect their children by being a watchdog. And they've listed the help of reporters, such as the professional reporters and layman reporters. There are 2 kinds of reporters. They're professional and layman. Now, professional are like your doctor's nurse, your teachers, your administrators, your counselors, school nurse, your daycare places, your caregivers, and then also the police and the fire. Anybody that works with children professionally is mandated by law to report any suspected negligence or physical abuse. Problem is, we don't know who's good or who's bad. There's enough cases that really worries me. Of course, I only hear the bad things. I don't hear about good things. I've only had one social worker contact me in the 2.5 years I've been doing this. And that social work was nice and pleasant, but really quite shocked that when I was telling her that most of them abuse the children into foster care, make it for money, that they lie, they commit perjury, and they have no integrity. And family reunification has dropped. Now, this social worker impressed me because she had a college degree in social services, and then she got a secondary degree, I think a master's in clinical psychiatry. And when she got that, um, it gave her better help to work with families. Also, she had to go through 6 months of training and before she'd be out there in the workforce place. So anyway, I hope that one of you will text me a comment or a question about CPS because I'd love to help you. I love to help you. Nothing's too difficult. Now, I've developed 5 rules that you need to follow. 1, get an attorney. 2, organize and keep track of all your documentation. 3, say no to social workers and police. Don't let them in your home. Don't talk to them. And do not let them take your children. Now, number 4 is how they use the internet. You need to look up by city, then state. And if you're outside the United States, city by country, then you type in the capital letters CPS. And a bunch of things will show up. If you want to be specific, you can put in there, I need a dependency attorney, a family law attorney, a juvenile attorney that can help me with CPS cases, and all the attorneys in that area will show up. Not all lawyers are bad, but there are bad ones too, as well as good ones. Same goes for the public defenders. The public defenders I found are bad in the court because they don't have enough time, they don't have enough knowledge. The knowledge is do damage reports and car claims, not about how to deal with children and families. Now I'm on 3 times a day, once at 8 o'clock in the morning, then again at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then at 6 o'clock in the evening. And that's 7 days a week. I've talked to over 200, excuse me, I've talked to over 30 countries and all 50 states. Anyway, I was thinking there for a brief moment about all the people I've talked to. And I have a good, strong 50 to 75 people that come in here regularly. And I care about people because I want to help you. And one thing that will help you is to get an attorney. That's for rule number 1. Attorney is very valuable. It's the person that's going to get you out of your troubles. They're the ones, but it has to be the right kind of attorneys. There's bad attorneys and good attorneys. And attorneys come in all types, pro bono, paid, or court appointed or public defenders. Now, the attorney I'm talking about that I've hired to help defend my case, his name is Vincent W. Davis. His picture's on the upper right-hand kind of the screen there. He has a website called stand.store/attorney VWD. There you'll find all kinds of his packages about dealing with CPS and how important certain motions are, like the 388 motion or the 160 hearing or the 180 hearing. Or what about the WICA at the University of there's one at the University of Georgia, and other ones around the country. Now, all I ask you is to show your comments or questions by text them on my stage, and I'll answer them in order I receive them. Okay? Now, let me scroll down. There's no other messages right now. They're just messages from the 8 rooms that I have here. 7 rooms are from Facebook, and 1 room is from YouTube. I don't see it there. It's missing. Let me try to open it up and see if I can find it. There it is. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rooms plus one more is 9. 1, 2. Okay, there's 9 Facebook rooms and 1 YouTube. That makes a total of 10. Okay, that looks. All right, there's a total of 10 connections here. We have 9 of Facebook and 1 of YouTube. And that's how you found me. I'm glad you did, because I'm here for this hour to help you with your case, to help you get an attorney. Now, you'll find out that CPS isn't allowed to be trusted. They lie and they'll abuse your children and abuse you as a parent, which is sad, which is really sad. So anyway, no story is difficult for me to handle. And I too was a victim of CPS. In 2015, my kids were taken, and in 2000, at the end of 2017, they were given back. Now I have lots of ideas, lots of things to help you with your case. But you have to understand you're dealing with a very bad entity. Not all CPS are bad, but the ones I've talked to, the 2,700 people, and okay. I've been trying to fabricate which way I'm going to go. I don't know whether I should start my rules first or talk about my case or answer your questions about your concerns or comments. Your questions about CPS or your comments about CPS. Now, please state your name, your first name, and your city or state, or your city and country, and then text me your comment or your question. and it will help you. Now, this attorney I'm speaking with is I work with him. He and I are deep friends, and we have a passion about CPS. CPS. I hired him as my attorney because I wanted my kids back, and I was told he'd be the one. And sure enough, it was. He was the one. It's expensive, hire an attorney. I know it is. But things like legal insurance will help you out if you pay a monthly premium. You should be able to get some medical coverage. You get it for life insurance, you get it for medical insurance, you get it for homes, houses, whatnot. So you you now I know it's hard because allegations are made sometimes by the layperson that are vindictive, meaning that they want to get back at you. They want to retaliate. Now, about 25% of the lay people are right. The professionals more like 50-50. The lay people are like relatives, family members, the guy next door, the girl up the street, the gasoline attendant, and so forth. Now, hiring an attorney is hard. I'm going to try to make it easier for you. My friend Vincent W. Davis, who we work together to fight CPS, can be reached at 888-888-6582. Those are the law offices that he works out of. And when you reach that number, you can be connected to social services. What you want to ask is to be connected to the child protection system. And you can find out most of this you can. You can understand about the importance of getting things in and stopping the unlawful prosecution of your families. Now, all it takes is a question or comment, and it'll start really quick and answer it. Now, I'm talking about an attorney. His name is Vincent W. Davis. Picture of the upper right hand side, and he has a website called stand.store/attorney, then DWD. That's all you need to put in for your search engine, either Chat GPT or Chrome, Google Chrome. Those are good search engines. And it'll pop up and tell you all about that. But he's been practicing CPS law for over 40 years. And he has background change and so forth. Now, I'm wondering, I'm thinking out loud, is it best to start with my story or my rules? Now, I was talking about how to locate an attorney. And I wish you would call them at 888-888-6582. That's the law offices. When you first ring, you're going to be talking to a receptionist. Make sure you tell them that Bob Pace sent you and that you want to talk to Mr. Davis. And when you speak to Mr. Davis, make sure you tell him that Bob Pace sent you. And once you're in there, once you're in the system, you'll see so much difference. There'll be a weight lifted off your shoulder. So many of you've had sob stories, children taken away unnecessary. Besides that, a lot of hiccups have been made by um, I'm waiting for those questions. We're 30 minutes into the showtime, and I've had no questions. I had a lot of questions in my morning show, a lot of activity. But things are different. Maybe at lunchtime, people ate too much lunch or sleepy. I don't know. But I've been sitting here thinking, should I tell about my story? Should I talk about my 5 rules that help you stay out of CPS, not be involved with them? Okay. I think I'm going to talk about what happened to me with CPS. Before I forget, I do want you to talk to my attorney, Vincent Davis. I hired him. He works for me. We do the CPS things together as friends, and because we have a common goal to correct CPS and not make it a miserable time. By them being good, our children be safe. By them being bad, our children not being safe. Now, I gave the phone number and his name. He has over 40 years of fighting CPS. He's trained in dependency law, family law, and juvenile law. He has 2 other additional law areas, one in criminal law and one in civil law. So he has 5 areas of law interest, but especially his CPS, which I call the child protection system. In Orange County, where my case was, it was the child protection system. And next door in LA County, one of the biggest counties in the United States, is now I forgot. That was the Orange County. Now the LA County is Department of Children and Family Services, DFSSF. Well, Department of Children and Family Services. I think to do that change to confuse people. I liked it better when everything was called CPS, meaning the Child Protection System. Everybody elaborated and worked on that. And Now, it's very important when you talk to Vincent Davis, you ask him two important questions to get to establish your connection with him. Your first question is, have you ever are you schooled and trained in dependency law, family law, and juvenile law, and have beaten CPS? Of course, the answer is going to be yes. I already know the answer. The second question is, if the case is over, can you file a lawsuit against CPS and have you won cases? The answer is yes again. Then that's a double whammy because that's what Vincent is. He's yes to both those. So when you get a hold of finding first three attorneys trained in dependency law, family law, and just starting out, that would be really good because they need to have that training because that's why they go to CPS. CPS will pay them a lot of money and expect a lot of effort from them. And when you talk to reception, tell them that I sent you. Bob Pace sent you. And then when you talk to Mr. Davis, tell him I sent you. And you can take it there. David Hilogo was the last person in my room that hired Mr. Davis. He's been hired by a lot of people in my room, including myself. And David got his girl back after being accused improper conduct with his daughter, like he wasn't touching her in a sexual graphical way. And so, with that being said and stuff, he's already been convicted as a pedophile, waiting the trial and what is going in. And I am, I thank you, God. I had to thank God because so many nice things are happening to me. I'm determined to I'm determined to help you all get that attorney and to fend yourself and to fight CPS. That's my goal. That's why I do this because you're taking advantage of them. They're corrupt. 50% of them are corrupt. It's a 50-50 shot. And I don't want you experiencing the same thing I experienced. Heartache and disastrous feelings and so forth. It's a horrible thing that, it's happened to me on that. By the way, Vincent works out of LA County, Los Angeles County, and their CPS is called the Department of Children and Family Services, DCFS. And the county that was involved is right next door, the Orange County um, Child Protection Services, CPS. That's the county that I was in and that wrongfully kidnapped my three children. Now I have six children that I've helped raise. I have 43 years of marriage experience, and I'm really grateful to have that because I can share. I have 61 years of life skills. I mean, that's how long I've been working. I started at age 15, and then by the time I settled down and had a family, I had a good, secure job. Unfortunately, I lost that dream job in 2010. So no fault of my own. No fault of my own. Now I'm back. I'm sorry. I'm pouring myself something to drink here. Up, it froze. It froze me drinking a drink. It caught me drinking. Um, I do want to help you, but the easiest way to help me is for you to send me questions and for you to um, send me comments. All I ask is your first name and the city and the state where you're from, and then the city and country if you're outside the U.S. where you're from. That's all I ask. Now, CPS is like a roller coaster ride. You're like Alice in Wonderland. You fell in a hole, a rabbit's hole. You met the Cheshire cat and you're taken from room to room going nowhere. They will lie. They will trick you. They commit perjury very easily in court. And your children are sometimes hurt by them and the foster care people that they're placed in. That's sad. Children are abused not only by the parents, but by foster parents. Now, not all parents abuse their kids, but a lot of them are wrongfully accused because of circumstances. It could be a divorce going on or a breakup, and someone is accused the other one. You never want to do that. You never want to use CPS for those means. A lot of you lay people, including my case, I'm angry about it because my wife's mother and father and their three sisters and her brother would once a week call CPS from Ohio to California that my wife and I allege we're doing some bad things with our children. When they started showing up in 2014, I think in the latter part of the summer 2014 when they started to show up. I couldn't understand the accusations because they're stupid. There's like you're accused for not taking your children to school. Well, if they have great records, no absenteeism, and they have A's and B's, how they're not taking their children to school? I show them the grade reports. CPS says it must be a mistake. That's the problem. The lay people get right 25% of the time. 25% of the time. Now, the professionals a little better. They get it right 50% of the time, but we still have trouble with the professionals. That's your doctor, nurse, or your school teacher, your administrator, or your counselor, or your school nurse. Then it could be the daycare worker, the caregiver, and then we have the caregivers, report, and then only we have the police and firemen. Now, all the people that deal with your children are professionals because they're required by law to report any sign of abuse or neglect. That's how social services keep track of it. But it's got so bad lately that they abuse the system all for more money. It's $1 trillion business. Billions go from the federal government to the state, no questions asked. Then from the state to the county, millions go. Again, no question asked. And that is really, really sad. And reason why I know a lot of this is that there was $1 million unreported in Richmond, Kentucky. And they're investigating. They found that a social worker embezzled 600,000. That still left another 400 left, and they're still trying to decide where that one is and stuff. So that makes it hard and sad. That makes it hard and sad. Oh. So anyway, I'm sitting here rambling on and talking. I've been talking already for 35 minutes. I would like to answer your questions or comments. All I have to do is have your name and either your comment or your question text to me along with the city and state or city and country. Now, some of the countries that have come in have been like Canada and Mexico, South America, Great Britain, England, Scotland, Wales. Also, I've had Europe and Africa, then the Middle East, then Bangladesh and India, and Indonesia, New Zealand, Australia. Those are some of the countries. There's a lady named Lika Herzenberg from South Africa, a remarkable lady that's fighting a pedophile, and the police are refusing to do anything about it. Her son is being abused by a pedophile, and she's so emotional distraught. Or like the lady from Leeds, England, or the three ladies from Ontario, Canada, or the people from California, David Halago, or Margaret in Bakersfield, David Halago in Santa Barbara County, Felicia Corella from Oxnard, California, in Ventura County. And then there's me. In my case, in 2015 is when they stole our kids. 2015 is when they stole our kids. And it is a hard thing because, you know, at my age, you're supposed to be going what's called the golden years. Well, I don't know what's so golden about it. I've been fighting CPS now since 2014. So that's 10, that's 15, that's 11 years. 11 years I've been fighting CPS. Vince has been fighting for 40 years. He once was in foster care himself. He does all this volunteer helping out with CPS. Yes, he is making money. Now, his retainer is $5,000 and he's $550 an hour. But that's a guesstimate. If you want a firm quote, you need to call him. And he will go out of state. He has cases in Oklahoma, and he'll go any state in there. Now, I know Wisconsin is approximately $125,000 for a retainer. That is a lot of money to come up with. I know it's expensive, but you should look into legal insurance. A lot of people don't even think about it, but they do sell legal insurance. They get an attorney to fight a DUI, or if you're being framed, you need that attorney. Attorneys, they're a dime a dozen, but good ones are hard to find. And Vince is one of those good ones. Again, his number is going across the bottom of my screen, 888-888-6582. And I already said that his website for good deals and packages is stan.store/attorney VWD. And he has his other website called vincentwdavis.com. It's more about his office and how he does things. There's a lot of CPS info on that. So fighting CPS, you have to study it. You have to live it. You got to spend hundreds and hundreds of hours on the internet about it. There's lots of things I've learned off it. I looked up the history of CPS and how they come in and how they take your children, how they falsify and how they lie. I know that firsthand. They're not in there what they're supposed to do, which is called reunification. They take children whether they're in danger or not, which is wrong. And they frame parents. They'll frame parents. They'll lie and frame you. And very sad. That is very, very, very sad position. Now, when I got involved in CPS, as I said, it was 2014, I lost my favorite job in 2010. And I think that was starting a domino effect. I had to tell my family we had to be a Spartan lifestyle, meaning we could no longer afford our Disneyland passes or eating out all the time or traveling all the time. We would go to different countries. We go to Brazil, go to Portugal, Canada. We travel in the United States, to Hawaii, to the Grand Canyon, to Ohio. And so we would go different states and so forth. So I'm a world traveler. For 25 years, my early life, my midlife, I guess you might want to call it, I was living out of a sports bag, traveling from contest to contest. My son, who's 25 now, got to march in a parade on my back. It was a parade of athletes for a world surfing event in Puerto de Glinas. And he also, at 1 year's age, went on over to Kauai. He went backpacking with me on the Nepali coast and surfing at a place called Tunnels. Not actually going out with me on the board, but he's only 1 years old. But I took him a lot of times surfing. Took my kids out. They love to surf. Anyway, I love sports, but unfortunately, my case was getting worse and worse because the complaints were coming in like we weren't feeding them. I'd show them an open refrigerator, cupboards full of food, our food prep area. They were saying we didn't pay utilities. I show them the electric meter running. I show the utility bills that show we did pay. We had insurance. We had central vacuum in our house. We had a swimming pool. We had vaulted ceilings. Each child had their own bedroom and bathroom. The parents had their own room with double doors. That master bedroom was the size of my apartment. It was huge. It was huge. I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 1,200 square feet, the master bedroom was. Had two walk-in closets, a jacuzzi, a toilet closet, and double doors, so playroom, you could come in there. It was really great. Really great. I miss that room. I miss that home. That was my forever home. I had to sell it. Sadly, I had to sell it because when I lost my job in 2010 of August, by April, first part of April 2017 is when I had to sell it because I had to have money to fight my attorney. And I had to get more money for the year 2017 because my two boys returned in December 2017. And so I got them back at the end of 2017, but I lost my forever home back on April 2nd. It was sad. It was sad. And I've tried to have a home here for my family. But one of our family members never came back. One of my three children that were stolen from us. And that was our youngest daughter. We have three daughters and three sons. And the oldest two girls and the oldest son were out on their own. One is in his 40s, and two of them are in their 30s. And then my three youngest were still in their teens and elementary years. They're now older. My son is 25, who just recently got married. And my daughter, who's left us at age 12, is 23 now. And my young son, who's now 20, they've all moved out recently. Two of them are still in college, or I think three of them are, but I think the girl one isn't because she's with parents that don't care. You see, that's the problem. Sometimes people think it's better on the other side of the fence. They think the Joneses are better or the Smiths are better, and they find out it's not the case. I've always been a good provider, but I've spoiled my family. I really did. I spoiled it big time. Now, we've dropped down a number of people in this room. I guess no one's talking this afternoon. That's okay. You can be a listener, and I can sit here and tell you about my story, which may help you, with your story. But it's really sad when you lose your family or the breakup of family. They're abused in foster care. The foster care people were terrible. They were terrible. Everything you could say about them was so true. But the worst thing I experienced was my daughter being forced to divorce her parents. Not forced, but coerced. She was one of those people that money seemed to be her ticket to anything. Gave her money, she was happy. And that's sad because I did not ever make it that way, but I spoiled my kids that way because I gave them everything they want. But CPS is notorious to make even more matters worse. They gave my daughter a phone at age 12. She's too young for that. My kids, I had a rule. They had to earn straight A's in their last year of middle school before they went to high school with a phone. And the phone was restricted. I mean, they couldn't go to a lot of places, and I had to watch it. I was a caring parent. But social service didn't protect my daughter from her getting on the internet to getting her to do crazy things and bad things, the dark web. Social service was so bad that they give a 12-year-old, a teenager, a phone, no one to monitor and stuff, and the foster parents didn't really care. They more cared about their own children. You see, the reason why a lot of people be foster parents, they get money. It's all about money. It's $1 trillion business. Billions flow to the state, and millions from the state flow to the county. Anyway, CPS is like false news, fake news. There's so much going around, you don't know what to believe. We're all stumbling around in the dark. News has become dramatized, and they love to hear cases about CPS, especially if parents did do wrong. Now, just because a parent does wrong doesn't mean the behavior can't be corrected. In fact, studies have shown the best parents are the biological parents. The best parents are the biological parents. And they need parenting classes or programs like a drug rehab program or domestic violence program. Some are only a year old, which is domestic violence. That's a year-long class, 52 weeks of a class. I know all these things, but I took those classes. You know, it was too on my part to believe I could fight them on my own. That's why I hired Mr. Davis. He got back my 2 boys, but he couldn't stop what they brainwashed my daughter with. That social worker was out for revenge. She knew that we can prosecute her. She knew that we could prosecute her. Now, it's still like, you know, your first name and where you're from, your city and state, or your country and city. Now, we live in a rough world and changing times, but nothing's more important than your family. I love my family dearly, and I'll do anything for them. I know most of you will. But what I had to suffer through the hands of CPS is nothing I want on you guys. All the corruption and the retaliation that they do. I think one of the reasons why I've had a difficult time finding a job or getting work is because CPS is on my record. CPS is my background check. And people are afraid of CPS. Most attorneys will not fight CPS. That's why the second question is a good question to ask them if they ever done a civil trial and sued CPS. Most attorneys won't do it. I think there's only a handful on one hand of attorneys that do it. I think I've only known 5 attorneys. Now, if you have 3,144 places with CPS, and you're going to have a need for at least 3,144 lawyers. You're going to need more than that because some places are inundated by 40 or 50 couples that are going through it, or non-couples that are going through CPS. And it's got out of hand because they're more interested in money. My social worker was always so excited about the Gucci purse she got every week. The eyeliner, the eyelashes, the jewelry, the makeup, the clothing, her BMW car. It's all bought with the bonus. You know, the county will pay out, the state will pay out $20,000 per child if they're registered with the state. And that's where they get the number, their case numbers from the state. And that way they'll start receiving money. If there's special needs, they'll get another 10,000. That's up to 30,000 that they're giving that foster care person. And believe me, you know, if you get enough of those kids, 6 kids, boy, you know, over a year, that's city income for life. Because expenses aren't that expensive of running a shelter or a home. But it is hard. It's hard to fight an agency like that. My case was terrible because they were hounding me for years, thanks to my layperson, my in-laws, and every time prove it wrong. But then one time they got frustrated and they contacted a detective of the local police, and that local police detective um, went and followed me around, followed me in my pattern, and went and got my where I drop off and pick up my young son. You see, since 2010, I had the luxury of being bonded with my kids. And in 2010, my son was only 10 years old. My daughter was 8 years old, and my young son was 5 years old. So 5, 8, and 10 in 2010. And so I got to see them a lot. I'm thankful. One reward of being laid off is a chance to be a father because I'd spend 60 hours a week working and taking care of the family, taking care of the family. And I got to see them. So anyway, the detective found my pattern, and then he followed me as I was going to pick up my wife, who's downtown on errands. And so I didn't get very far. I got about 15 minutes from the school to downtown, close to it, till a black and white pulled me over. Now, at first, I wasn't worried because I'd done nothing. I had nothing to hide about. But then the black and white said, did you know you ran a stop sign? I said, what? I said, you ran a stop sign. I said, there's been a stop sign for 15 minutes. There's one at my child's school. He said, that one. And I said, well, I always do the stop for 3 seconds. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. So how to run the stop sign. And he knew that I got him there. And if I knew what I knew now, I would have told him, write me the ticket. I'll take the ticket. We'll go to court and fight it. But he was doing me as a setup. They were tricking me because there was the detective, and the detective wanted to speak to me, and he knew that I'd run away or something. I don't know why the detective just didn't bother the call. I didn't answer the doors because I learned not to answer the doors to police or CPS. So he said, I want you to take me to your house. He didn't tell me people were meeting me there. And at the house, I said, what about my wife? I need to pick her up. I need to let her know. No, you don't. You come. And at that time, I should have said, if you got something on me, arrest me. Arrest me. But then I got to thinking that my young son would be probably taken off to CPS if you're arrested. I don't know if they give him to the mother or not. And so I went back to my house. And when I got there, I was appalled to see 3 social workers standing in my front garden. And then with those 3, and they're all women, nothing against women, there was 5 firemen. I think there was 1 woman and 4 guys. Then there was 2 code enforcement, 1 woman, 1 guy. And then there was 2 uniformed policemen, both guys. So I had all these people, about 10 people, that wanted to see me about my house. I said, geez, you've been to my house numerous times. Well, recently what had happened is my parents were dying. My dad had recently died, and my mom soon followed suit. But I had all their belongings because they had asked me, can you please take our belongings and give them to family and friends? Well, they had 55 years of belongings over a 3,500 square foot home. So at first I put it in front of my garage, in front of the apron, and put them on pallets and covered it with tarp and rope to keep it so no one could see what it is, just like something that was a building project. Well, I have CCNRs. They don't allow that. So I had to move it inside. So I had to move all the boxes and the furniture inside. Well, I put it all in the living room because that's a good room to sort because no one's using the living room unless we have people over. Because I had a formal dining room that was free access. I had a kitchen dining area. I had a kitchen central island and a kitchen with my double door refrigerator, my double deck stove or oven, my stove, my gas stove, and my microwave was built in, and trash compactor, double stainless steel sinks, and we had a pool in the backyard, a walk-in pool with rocks. It was so soothing to the feet to walk on the rocks or small stones. The pool was nice. It was a walk-in pool, but it was securely fenced in, and the back door to the pool was securely locked with deadbolts and chains and alarms. But these people tore my house apart looking for something. They didn't really have anything, and like a fool, I let them. I should never have talked to them or let them in. They get all said and done and says, "We don't like you having these boxes in the living room. They may endanger the children." I said, "What do you mean? What's called neglect?" I said, "First of all, the furniture doesn't fly. It's not going to attack them up in their bedroom. Second of all, these boxes don't fly either. And they're my parents' belongings, and I'm sorting them and getting done. Right now, I lost my job, so I have money to do it elsewhere. I don't have money for a storage area." So that was disaster. They traipsed around. They tried to find everything. They took apart the smoke alarms, the fire extinguishers. They couldn't find anything wrong. They checked the back door. They checked the fence around the pool. The only thing is, code enforcement came out with two things they were concerned about. One, they said your front gate bolts are loose. You're screwing nut or bolt a nut. I said, "Well, that's fixed. I can fix that." And he said, "Well, your yard needs a haircut." I said, "Yeah, I let my landscaper go. I have to cut corners. I can't afford it. And it's a big yard." It was a lot of work because it's heavily green and there's lots of things to do. It was really heavily green. Uh, so anyway, they said, "We're going to write you up for negligence for having boxes too high and furniture too high that would endanger your kids." Even though my kids were taller than the furniture of the boxes. Then they slept upstairs in their own clean room with their own bathroom. So that's what I was cited for. And they said that was imminent danger, even though the rooms were clean. And they were in school. How is that imminent danger? How are they being in danger of our parents? It's a very sad state of affairs. It really is. Very sad state of affairs. But right now, I've gone over my time. It's after 2:00. I got talking about my story, and I didn't get any questions or comments to talk to you guys about. I wish I did. But I want to thank you for listening. I care about all of you, including you didn't tell me who you are. I probably know who you are. But I'll be on again at 6:00. I'll be on again at 6:00. I've been talking my running time about 59 minutes. I do have to turn off for a video I want you to watch. Please follow my rules. Get an attorney. Make lots of documentation. Organize it into notebooks. Have your timeline incident log done. Have your journal done to your kids. Don't let them in the home. Don't let them, don't talk to them, and don't let them take your children. And use the internet wisely. Look it up correctly. And number 5 is don't give up. And I don't want you to give up. Thank you all, and God bless you all. And I'll see you this evening. This is Bob Pace signing off.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted. And if you go against it, it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the
last ones left. Put your